be the part of that group. And we have consolidated a checklist post the session. So if you are interested to have the checklist of the previous session and what we are going to discuss today, be part of the Facebook group. The link is going to be shared in the chat. So please make sure that you become a part of the Facebook group. So have this list with you. Right? Okay. Going further. So as I mentioned, the last session we focused, how do we prepare ourselves? The 4 P's. Okay. We have prepared ourselves. Everyone has taken action, positive visualization, posture, practice, everything. But do you know what exactly the employer is looking for? Apart from just the designation or the job position name. Why it's important? Because this will determine your selection at the end of the interview. No matter you have the highest qualifications, no matter you are the best for that position as per your perspective, but if the employer do not find you best fit, the chances of selections are less. So what is that employer is looking forward, which is not written in the job description? And what is that you should prepare yourself with so that you can confidently be there, crack the interview, and get the offer? I am going to share with you the do's and don'ts during the interview. But before that, let us understand what employer wants from a candidate. And this is common for any position, right from the junior to the top management. The first, competency. Even before employer take test to see your competency, you yourself can prepare a checklist. Are you competent enough for that position? How will you check it? The first tool, as I always say, is your job description. Your job description has maximum information which will tell you what exactly is the employer looking out for. But also understand the competencies are the skill set which that position needs apart from day-to-day operations. If I'm hiring for a team leader, people management is the basic competency he or she has to possess. Sometimes it may not be clearly written in the job description. They would be saying, supervise the team, manage the team. But what is the gist of it? People management, conflict resolution. So it is your homework or a task at your end that you have to list down all the required competency which you feel after reading the job description and filter further that what exactly the qualities are being looked out for which are not mentioned. It's a deep dive, okay? It's right, reading between the lines. So that is first. Second, it's very common communication, but it is not just communication in terms of language. In the interview, the panel is looking out for a candidate who is able to express himself or herself properly to the interview panel. As a hiring manager, when we sit across the table, we ask questions to candidate, they answer it. But how do they answer it? How clearly are they able to express themselves with proper example? That matters. How authentic answers are, that matters. Sometimes the candidate may not be good in English. It's okay. It's absolutely okay. What matters is how do he or she put forth the content what he wants to put forth. Is he able to explain exactly what we asked him or her? Or is he deviating from the topic? We asked him, where is Delhi? And he's telling us the route for Kanyakumari. Simple thing, but that's definitely a clear no. But how do you make your communication clear? Remember two things. Whenever a question is asked by the interview panel, and if you think that this is what has been asked and you answer it, after answering, always recheck. Hope I answered it. Hope I answer your question. Second, if at all you have confusion, even at the start only, make sure you repeat the question to the interviewer and ask them, is this what you are asking for? There is no harm in rechecking, but that gives an impression that the person is quite confident and clear how to put ideas in front of the people. He or she do not shy away from asking question. So please follow this. Be attentive, and if you do not understand, repeat the question, ask for the interpretation, and then give your answer. And when I say communication, as I said, not just verbal communication, your body language, your smile, your posture, your confidence, everything will matter, which you have to take care in those 25 minutes. Right? And the third, as an employer, as an employer, we want to see always whether the person is fit for our culture. A person may be really good academically, but we have a culture of research and development, going into more and more detail. Will he or she be able to adapt to the culture of developing something new, the culture of disruption? Just an example. So, as an employer, we are constantly looking out these three C's in any candidate. And knowingly, unknowingly, the selection is always based when you tick all the three C's here. So, as an employer, we want you to show your competency. How will you show? Talk about the experience, talk about the real life example. Connect with the job description. Job description is the biggest tool which you can use to win in an interview. How do you communicate? Practice. I had mentioned AI websites. Practice your interview skills there. Are you able to put forth your ideas properly? Find a coach or find a friend, practice with them or with someone senior to you if you can. Because how you put across your answer is more important than what you know, what's there in your head. If you're not able to convey that proper message, things are not clear. And the third one, the culture. Okay. So these are the three C. So once we understood, like this is what the employers are seeking out. Now we will move on to what are the three do's? 3R formula. The first R, research. So what are you going to research about? You're going to research about the organization, about their vision, their mission, why this position is open. Is it an expansion plan? Is it a replacement? What do they have in mind? What is the general trend of that organization? You have to do this research. The second one, read. What is this read? I have been repeating this again and again. Read the job description thoroughly. The first question any interviewer will ask, have you seen the job description? And why it is important? Because when you read the job description, when you're thorough with the job description, you know exactly where do you stand. Out of the 10 lines which has been asked, how many of it are you aware about? Or how many of it are you confident that you can do those tasks? Many people, many candidates, they just, read it like ta 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 ta, okay, 110. I know this, I know this, I know this. No, I'm repeating again. Read line by line. Prepare your experience with each line. Do you have any example to prove that you have done that? You might know the example because that's you have done. But in that 25 minute, sometimes you may go blank. You will not remember at that time. And then after the interview, you may say, oh shit, I forgot about this to explain. Whose fault it is? I knew it. I did it. I just it didn't click me, to tell about this. I had done that. So to avoid this situation, my recommendation to any candidate, you start doing this and tell me the result you will have for any interview. So in that case, you always have to read the job description line by line, prepare the real life example to explain, yes, you have done it. and how much you know about it. Then you have this competencies requirement, the software. So you have to be thorough that, okay, I have worked on it, with whether it's only a theoretical knowledge or I have practically worked on it. So yes, I've done this project. This was the outcome. This were the challenges. This is how we resolved it. Sometimes you may not be a success. That's okay. But you know what do not work. Sometimes it is good to know what do not work. Because as a recruiter, as a talent acquisition manager, as a head HR, or as an organization, we want a person who has hands on it. They know what they're talking about. Result, sometimes it's not in our hand. That is why this read is very important. Job description is not just any paper or any 10 points. It will determine whether you are thorough with what is required and are you in a position of confidence. Because when you read it and when you are ready with the example, you will tell me the body language you will have in the interview. Right? And the third R is reconnect. Now, what is reconnect? The reconnect is nothing but making sure that you're reconnecting, re-establishing your candidature to the employer. When you talk about your introduction, when you talk about your strength, when you talk about your weakness, or you talk about why you are the best person, anywhere, everywhere, you need to reconnect yourself with the position. As an employer, we have hundreds of candidates for one position, right? And I would say 60% of them are good. So, what is that will actually highlight you or will make sure that your name will get the tick that, oh, he or she was the good one. If you make our process or our effort less or simple for us, and how will you make that simple for us? You will ensure that in all your answer, you are emphasizing your experience and the job which is there in the market, why you are the best fit with the example, with the connecting competencies. Because more you make it simple for us, oh, okay, yeah, this person, he had done this, he mentioned about it. Even though you have mentioned in the resume, thousands of resume are there on the table every day. You really expect everyone to read your resume and keep in mind what you have written in the resume? Not possible. Let's be honest, not possible. But then how you can simplify it? When you have that interview call, when you're sitting across the table, make sure the moment the question is asked, any question, you have to make sure that you are talking about your fit for the role, your strength. As I said last time, if your strength, say, example, a good guitarist, it will not help me because I'm looking for a project manager or I'm looking for a cook, for example. So I don't really would be interested if you play a good guitar. What I want is a good cook. So when you talk about your strength, again, talk about the competency which are required in the JD, job description, which is given. Right? So you're going to research about the organization, a clear do. Because as an employer, we are eager to understand how we are perceived in the market. And we feel good when the candidate says, oh, I have seen the website, or I have, understood that this is what your product is into, or your organization is into, and these are your plans. We feel happy to share more. But when we get the answers, I didn't see the website, I didn't get the time. Really? Even though if you're giving honest answer, this is not something an employer is looking for. So understand the mindset of an employer also. So research, read, and reconnect. Very simple thing. What I'm telling you today, they are not high do. If you go on Google, how to prepare for interview, you will get a lot of good list. And yes, you have to do all those. Be there on time and everything, this, that. But those are all given. What I'm sharing with you today is actual what happens in that interview room. And knowingly, unknowingly, how the perceptions are built for any candidate. And how do we take decision for the selection or a rejection, right? So these are the clear do's. Now we will move on to don't. Three don'ts. Absolutely three don'ts. The first, being boring. What do I mean by that? If a candidate enters in the room with low energy, lack of passion, or giving answer in a monotonous way, as if the person has by heart the answer, do you think there are chances for this candidate to be selected? Why? Because there is no spark. There is no spark. So first thing I will recommend, be your authentic self. Do not by heart the answer, or do not try to imitate anyone, like this person walk or this person talk. The way you are, be comfortable in your own skin. Your body will automatically show that confidence. You cannot impress the interview panel if you're not true to yourself, because it takes only few seconds. We can understand, we can tell you if this person is a fake, he's putting on the accent or the personality, or he's genuine. With my 16 years of experience in recruitment, I will tell you, many candidates have this notion that if they talk in a very good English, they are bound to be selected. Sorry, it's a big myth. It's a big myth. Yes, English is a language to communicate, to express, but that is not the only criteria. We want someone who is genuine. So when you're answering to the interviewer or to any panel, do not try not to be yourself. So when I say be yourself, are you a boring person? Are you with, no energy, no passion? Of course not. And if you are by any chance on that particular day, you have to do something to pull up your energy. Find a way out. Look yourself in the mirror today. I will give you a task today. See yourself in the mirror. Talk for 5 minutes to yourself. And do you think you're like the not the boring type? You can convey your message, to me through the WhatsApp group or to the Facebook group. Check yourself. How are you projecting yourself? So avoid being boring. Avoid being boring. And when I say avoid being uh, passionless, avoid being, like sad face, no smile, and just, answering to what is being asked. Yes, no, limited words. No, that's not a sign. Be passionate. Okay. The second, bluffing. A clear cut no. A clear cut no. Never ever bluff in front of the interview panel. The people who are sitting across the table, they are with, minimum 25 years, 30 years of experience in their own field. They're head of their department. They are line managers. They're, like team leaders. They are not someone you can fool around. If you do not know a particular technical answer, just say, at this moment, I'm not aware about it. Or I do not recall the answer. But do not bluff. Because two things happen. One is you lose the trust. And second, that shows that you do not have enough courage to accept when you do not know something. It takes courage to say that I do not know this, but that do not stop you. You can always say, at this moment, I'm not aware about this, but I can definitely find out. Or I will try to find out, going further. Be honest. I have seen engineers, bluffing about the formulas. Because, of course, they have learned those in, say, in their college time. They might not be using it now. But do not bluff or just say, this is what I recollect, but I'm not sure whether this is, like the right one. That also shows an honesty that at least he or she tried. But when you say, oh, this is the formula, and we know you're bluffing, you're gone. We may stretch the interview, but you're not selected because the moment you lose trust, you're gone. Any organization always give importance to trust over your competencies. Always remember, if we cannot trust the candidate, we cannot offer him or her because we need people in the organization to build a team. We are going to work as a team, right? So this is what you need to understand. Never ever bluff. Be honest, but that do not mean that you need to not prepare yourself. Certain basic things you need to be prepared. There you can't say, I'm not aware about this. And this is one of the requirement in your job description. So that is how the connection goes. Read your job description, research, study, prepare your answer so that you will never arrive something at this situation. And even if you arrive something out of syllables, you can say, at this moment, I'm not aware, but what I know is this, right? This is how you can tackle. And the third B, boasting. This is about being, too much confidence. This is for the people with too much confidence. I, me, myself. It's good to have confidence. But when you're overconfident, you actually lose marks on that, because we want person to join the team, to be with the team. We don't want someone who will only talk about himself or herself and who will not give chance to any other team member to grow further. Because knowingly, unknowingly, in every position, we are looking for a team leader. That this person going down, does he or she has the quality of being a leader? And a leader is someone who has the guts or courage to promote someone else's talent. So if a person is only talking about himself, herself, we understand he's not a person who will fit into our culture. He is good as a freelancer, right? So you have to balance yourself. You have to have confidence, but not the overconfidence. So too much about yourself will not work. And as I mentioned, even you're talking about yourself, connect it with the requirement of the organization so that automatically you will come into the balance. Right? So these are the 3 B's which absolutely you need to avoid. So with this, I come to an end of this session. And as I mentioned, please join our Facebook group if you need the checklist for today's session and the previous session also. And this is what you will have tomorrow, the session, Secret to Financial Independence and Early Retirement by CA Ravikant Varda. So do not forget to register yourself and be there at 8 p.m. tomorrow and have this session, understand the financial independence. Join our WhatsApp community, download the PDF guide checklist from the Facebook group, be there, set the reminder for tomorrow at 7:55, be there at 7:55 p.m. and share within your circle about the link. Right? So with this, I take your note. Thank you.